Okay, call the meeting to order. Those who care to, please stand for an opening prayer and pledge of allegiance. Mr. Cameron, if you would.
Thank you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day and thank you for all you do for us. Thank you for the weather, Lord, and the change. Lord, I just pray for our wisdom and direction tonight. I thank you, Lord, for those that have served the community and for those that are about to join this council. And I pray, God, just for wisdom and direction. Be with us in all we do and say. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, before I sit back down, we are going to start off with an Outstanding Citizen Award. And I want to make sure I say your first name right. Is it Tatum? Tatum? Yeah. Okay, Tatum Carter. Ms. Tatum Carter organized a fundraiser as one of her senior projects. She ran a well-organized and successful Pause for a Cause fun run event that collected just over $700 in cash and donations. It was a pleasure to work with an outstanding young citizen who has such a high level of care for the city's animal control program. So we also have a plaque that we would like to give you that says 2018 Republic Citizen Award, Tatum Carter. Thank you for your efforts and hard work making Pause for a Cause a success. Thank you very much. Thank you for caring enough about our city to take a step to do something like that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to citizen participation. Anyone who would like to speak to anything not on the agenda, please step to the podium, state your name and address, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Mr. Mayor, council members, and ladies and gentlemen, my name is Craig O'Dear. I am running for the United States Senate here in Missouri, and I'm running as an independent. I'm here with Aaron Nielsen, who's part of our campaign, and we've been in Springfield all day, starting at Evangel College this morning with some students. We're here to get acquainted, and we're here to talk about the campaign and what we're looking to do. The key part of this campaign is that I'm running as an independent. It's part of a national movement that's been building for about 3 years. I just posted last night on my Facebook page the latest polling. We've had a trend for 5 or 6 years. Every year, every month almost. Fewer and fewer people self-identify with one party or the other party, and every month and year goes by, more and more people self-identify as independents. This campaign is about serving those people and all people. I love this vision statement up here. I love addressing council members. I'm a lawyer. I've represented cities. I do business litigation. I've been in front of a lot of city council groups, and what I like about them is most of them are nonpartisan. You're here to serve your community. You're not here to do what 3 senators in January expressed deep misgivings about the United States Senate. 3 members came public after the government shut down in January and said the United States Senate is broken. It's controlled by two caucuses, and those caucuses are controlled by a small group of people, and they spend more time fighting each other and blaming each other than conducting business. This is where business gets conducted. So we want to come down to meet people. I've asked Aaron to share our cards with those who are here, and we'd like to come back. And this is kind of what we're doing. We're doing an initial session. We reach out to a lot of mayors. We believe mayors and city council members are key leaders in the community that stand for the kind of things that we stand for. Problem solving and unity, pulling people together rather than dividing. That's what we're about. We'd like to come back, as I said, do a town hall type event. So we've come down here. We usually connect with people. We hand out the cards. Some people have followed up. It only takes 1 or 2. Say, you know what? If you want to come down and meet people, I'll help you get a group together. That's what we're looking for. These cards also have our website on it. I would ask you all to at least go to our website, craigodear.com, no spaces, no apostrophe, and at least look on the landing page, the home page, there's a video. Always like to direct attention there because you'll see me on my prized possession, which is my 1958 Model 520 John Deere tractor my dad bought when he bought the farm that I grew up on, a 160-acre hog farm up in northeast Missouri. I went to college at Rolla, got an engineering degree, went to Vanderbilt Law School, been in Kansas City all my life. Last thing I want to say before I want to be respectful to the time. One of the things that I resisted running when I was recruited over 3 years, I got serious about a year ago, and I kept telling them, you don't understand, I got a great life, I love my life. One of the things I love to do, and I'm looking at Councilmember Jones, I love to ride motorcycles, and I ride them all over the world. I've ridden them in Europe, I've ridden them in South America, I've ridden them all over the country. I got 10 years of trips planned. I don't want to cancel them. But, you know, they persuaded me that this is the right time, the right moment to offer this in service. So one of the things we're doing, Councilmember Jones, I hope you look out for, we're going to start, I told him, well, if we're going to have a campaign, there are going to be motorcycles involved, and we're working on starting a Declare Your Independence motorcycle club as part of the campaign. So when I run into motorcycle riders, I always point that out. So I appreciate, Mr. Mayor, the time. I appreciate it. I know we got some new office holders here. I want to congratulate them and congratulate you for running and serving. And thank you very much.
All right, thank you, sir. Good luck on your campaign.
Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak to anything not on the agenda, please state your name and address. Come to the podium, state your name and address. You'll have 5 minutes. Seeing none, citizen participation is closed. Need a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 7-0. On to boards, commission, and committee schedule. Of note, city council meetings will be May 1st, 2018, and then May 15th, 2018. We have no old business or tabled items. Moving on to other business. Resolution number 18-R-16, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, declaring the results of the April 3rd, 2018 municipal election to elect a mayor and 4 council members. I need a motion and a second.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Ms. Brenda.
Okay, we received the certified results for the election, and I'll read those for you. For Mayor, Jeff Usry, with the Christian County included, it was 811 votes. For Councilmember Ward 1, Eric Franklin with 125, Greg Smith 44, and Carolyn Bennett 42 votes. For Councilmember Ward 2, Gary Wilson with 126 votes. For Councilmember Ward 3, Jason Mendez 127 votes, and Christopher Updike 99 votes. And for Councilmember Ward 4, again with Christian County, 226 votes.
Any questions, comments, or concerns from council? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries 7-0. With those election results, this time I would like to recognize Councilmember Greg Smith for his work. For those of you who don't know, Greg not only serves our community or has served our community as a council member, but he also serves our community in the fire service. So 2 places he chooses to serve our community, and we have been grateful for it's been 2 years, but as Greg could probably tell you, it's been a quick, fast-paced 2 years, a lot of changes in the city, a lot of movement in the city, and a tremendous amount of growth that started. So we want to take a moment to thank Greg for everything he's done to assist with that growth as acting as a council member. Mr. O'Dear said it right, that the true business of government happens right here in this city. Not at the state level, not at the federal level. This is the last line of defense for the citizens of the City of Republic. We are. And Greg has played an instrumental part in that. So we'll go over there and take a picture in just a second, but I wanted to give him a plaque that says, presented to Greg Smith, Councilmember Ward 1, Thank you for your outstanding vision, dedication, and commitment while serving the citizens of Republic, April 11th, 2016 through April 17th, 2018. So, and I'm going to turn over to Mr. Cameron if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you. I guess I'll stand it.
Yeah, sorry, I made this awkward.
That's okay. One thing that I'll say, Greg, I appreciate the work that you've done. You've been a great resource for me. I came in new. You were part of that group that brought me in. And so one thing I'll say about Greg is that I send out a lot of information about what's going on in the city, be it text, via email, things that are just, hey, FYI. And Greg was always one of those that constantly wanted to know more about it, kind of would ask and be involved. And so a lot of times the citizens want to know what's going on in the community as soon as we find out. So if there's a shooting or thing that goes on. And one thing that I could always tell you about Greg is he wanted to know more so he could help dispel the message and make sure that it was accurately communicated. But also when it came to the fire service, there was things that he helped with that was looking at the financial position, moving the city forward. Because if you recall, a year and a half ago, we were looking at about $3,000 surplus total at the end of the year, and we were making some big changes on the financial position of the city. And Greg, as well as many others of this council, participated in some challenges. We made a lot of tough decisions. And I just want to express my appreciation for how much you've assisted me. What doesn't always play out in here are just meetings where you come in here and you're discussing those things. I don't think people understand how many calls and meetings that you took place just to stay involved, the lunches we'd have where we'd discuss things that were going on. So I appreciate your work and your service. It's just not a lot of stuff people would see at this meeting, but what I saw on a week in, week out basis. So thank you.
Any other council members that would like to speak about Mr. Smith? I'm going to stand up so it's not awkward with you. But seriously, I've opened up to council if anyone likes to say anything.
It's been a pleasure to serve with you, Greg.
Thank you. Yes, sir. I appreciate all the insight into the public safety part. I mean, you and Mayor both have that experience that a lot of us don't, so it was nice to have, so I appreciate it.
Greg's not a real vocal person, but when Greg speaks, you better listen. He's been some ideas that have been thought through, so we appreciate you and Herb will miss you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate serving with you, and then you kind of getting me up to speed on a lot of things, and then our friendship. So I really appreciate you and how you're going to do it.
Thank you.
All right, let's do this flag presentation. The picture. All right,
Thank you.
we appreciate you. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you. Good luck.
Now we'll move on to swearing in of elected officials. Those are myself for mayor, Ward 1, Eric Franklin, Ward 2, Gary E. Wilson, and Ward 4, Charlie Brashears. Mr. Franklin, if you would please join us up front here. We'll come right into the middle here to be sworn in. I'll follow you. Huh? I think this is where she wanted to do it.
Yeah.
You'd rather here, front here.
Let's back up.
Yeah.
Okay, if you would raise your right hand and repeat after me, fill your name in the blank. I blank.
I,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess all the qualifications
that I possess all the qualifications
prescribed for my office by law,
prescribed for my office by law,
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Missouri,
and of the state of Missouri,
the provisions of all laws
the provisions of all laws
of this state,
of this state,
affecting cities of this class,
affecting cities of this class,
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of the city of Republic,
of the city of the Republic,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
demean myself in office,
demean myself in office,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you. this point, I'm going to ask that we move the election of Mayor Pro Tem down on the agenda below the appointment of the Ward 3 seat. So do I have a motion and a second to do that?
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, on to resolution number 18-R-17, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, appointing a council member for Ward 3. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. In the April 3rd, 2018 municipal election, Jason Mendez was elected as council member to represent Ward 3. However, Mr. Mendez has moved out of Ward 3 and is not able to serve on the council pursuant to Section 3.2B of the city's charter. Therefore, a vacancy has been created on the City Council. Pursuant to Section 3.6C of the charter, a vacancy in the City Council shall be filled for the remainder of the unexpired term, if any, at the next regular municipal election. That the mayor, with the advice and consent of council, may fill the vacancy until the person elected to serve the remainder of the unexpired term takes office. This vacancy has been posted by the city and applicants were taken, accepted from residents of Ward 3 who were interested in serving City Council. We had all of those applications were shared with City Council. We had an interview with each of those people, or I did, as well as Mr. Cameron, and then with the advice and consent of council. So the way we have to do this, because this was the name on the resolution was left blank because we took applications all the way up till near the end, did the interviews, and got the advice of council. So in order to correct the resolution, I need to ask for an amendment. So I'm asking for an amendment to add Matthew Russell's name in section 1 in the blank. I have a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries 7-0 to amend the bill. Now we will move into the resolution portion where, from everything we've covered with the application process, the interview process, and the advice of council, I am asking for the appointment of Matthew Russell to fill the vacant Ward 3 seat. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries 7-0. And now we will move on to new business, and I will ask Mrs. Brenda Jackson to swear in our Ward 3 appointed official, Mr. Matthew Russell.
You want me in the middle too? I see that as the new guy gets to go along.
Okay, if you would please raise your right hand, put your name in the blank. I blank.
I, Matthew Russell,
Do solemnly swear that I possess all the qualifications
that I do possess all the qualifications
prescribed for my office by law,
prescribed for my office by law,
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Missouri,
and of the state of Missouri,
the provisions of all
the
laws
provisions of all laws
of this state
of this state,
affecting cities of this class,
affecting cities of this class,
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of the City of Republic,
of the City of Republic,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
demean myself in office,
demean myself in office,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Take it easy. We'll get you right into things.
I have no doubt.
Okay, having done that, now we will move on to the election of Mayor Pro Tem. We do not have any resolutions or anything for that, so I would ask for a motion from council for Mr. Wilson.
I nominate Charlie Bashirs.
Okay. We have a motion and a second for Charlie Brasiers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No opposition. Motion carries 8-0. Mr. Brasiers will continue as the Mayor Pro Tem. Congratulations and thank you.
You all know what you're missing. I'll tell you.
We have a pretty good.
You probably, Mr. Wilson, if I were you, I'd get to my vehicle fast tonight.
Right on.
Mayor, I abstained on that one, by the way.
Okay, well then we'll pass it 7-0 with one abstention. Okay, on to new business. Bill number, I can't even. Need a motion and a second for the first reading of bill number 18-21.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries 8-0. Ms. Brenda.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, approving the final plat of the Monte Cristo Phase 3 subdivision.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes.
Good evening. The final plat application for Monte Cristo Phase 3 was received by the Community Development Department on March 29th, 2018. The technical review team reviewed the final plat for compliance with the Monte Cristo Phase 2 preliminary plat, which was approved by Resolution 15-R.-68 on October 12th, 2015.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns from council? Seeing none, remember this is a first read, so if you have any questions, please get with Ms. Haynes in the meantime. Thank you, ma'am. Need a motion and a second for the first reading of bill number 18-22.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 8-0. Ms. Brenda.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri to amend Title IV of the Republic Municipal Code, Land Use, Section 405.600, General Access, Design, Surfacing, and Loading Standards by amending subsection C, surfacing, to add a new subdivision 2 and, subdivision 2 and 3.
Thank you. Mr. Tyson.
This bill proposes to clarify when and whether gravel or crushed stone may be used as a surface for the development of private property. Generally speaking, off-street parking and loading areas, areas of ingress and egress to any commercial development has to have a surface that is, as the code describes, composed of asphaltic material or concrete. What has been unclear in the past is at what point does it cease to be an off-street parking lot and begin to be some sort of storage area. And over the years, a variety of different members of staff have interpreted that different ways, applied it different ways, and it's created a lot of confusion because you end up with lots of different results out in the field over time, which again just adds to the confusion. What we're hoping to do here is to clarify that slightly by making it clear that there are some areas that we do not consider to be off-street parking, so to speak, those areas being what in the industrial development world they would commonly refer to as a lay-down yard of sorts, where you can store materials, equipment, and even tractor trailers, as you see mentioned here. That surface could be gravel or crushed stone rather than asphaltic or concrete surface. It also clarifies that you could use gravel or crushed stone as a surface to store vehicles that are in queue that are waiting to be repaired at an auto body shop in the general commercial C2 district, so long as that storage area is screened from view by an opaque fence at least 6 feet in height.
Okay, any questions, comments, or concerns from council?
I have one.
Mr. Wilson.
The existing facilities, are they going to be grandfathered in?
Yeah, if they are lawfully existing now, they would be allowed to continue with that lawful status. There would be, however, certain points at which you would lose your grandfathering, so to speak, if you wanted to expand it or if you changed use, things like that, then you would potentially have to bring it up to code.
Okay.
The most likely place that would occur that I can think of off the top of my head would be for auto dealerships. Some of those were in the past allowed to use gravel and crushed stone for their entire sales lot. That would no longer be the case. So at the time of a change of use or an expansion or new development, they would have to have pavement for those areas.
Okay. As long as they stay as are, they're okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, comments, or concerns from council? Seeing none, remember this is the first read. If you have any questions, please get with Mr. Tyson in the meantime before the next meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, on to other business. Resolution number 18-R-18, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri concerning the appointment of the municipal judges and the municipal presiding judge and authorizing the city administrator to take the necessary action to implement the appointments. City Code provides for the appointment of the municipal judge or judges for a 2-year term in each even-numbered year, and at the second council meeting in April, the current municipal judges, including presiding Judge Ryan Ricketts, will expire after April 17, 2018. Judge Ricketts has been serving as the presiding municipal judge for the city since February 14, 2014, having been named successor to Judge Hager upon his retirement. In addition to the presiding judge, we also have the option, but we currently have 2 associate judges, one of them being Christopher Bearfield and the other one Robin McKee, who fill in the absence of the presiding judge. So the resolution is they are currently the appointees, and I am asking for reappointment. In addition to that, we will be asking for an amendment to the contract, which will be something Mr. Cameron will cover. So to start, I'm going to ask for a motion and a second to reappoint presiding judge, Judge Ricketts, associate judges Christopher Bearfield and Robin McKee.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
Motion carries 7-0 with 1 abstention. Now, moving on to, it'll be in that same resolution. It is to amend the contract for the municipal judges, and I will turn this over to Mr. Cameron.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For a number of years, the judges have received the same amount of funding per docket, which is about $267 per docket. So basically what we did is we analyzed what that would be if it was a normal escalation of cost, and so we're recommending to move from $267 per docket to $324.19 per docket. There's about 78 a year, and we're also, for Judge Ricketts, that would be for all judges, but for Judge Ricketts, we're also recommending that he receive health and dental benefits as part of this as well. And what that is based upon is, one, like I said, that'd be almost 10 years that there's been no increase in the docket fees. And so what we did, again, is we took an escalator of a 1.5% COLA, 1.5% merit, what we do for an employee, and kind of applied that to create the docket fee. The other part is what we're asking is Judge Ricketts is a little bit more than what we've done historically in the past. And so Scott can elaborate a little bit more, but I do believe that it's warranted for the work that he's doing for us and the work that we're asking to step with the changes in the courts, and also being more engaged in what the administration is working on and towards. So we're asking him to meet a little bit more frequently with us, and that's what we're asking for consideration in the amendment. We did consider, I believe it's about $10,000 per year. We did evaluate the budget as to how that would be impacted. There was some provisions already outlined in the budget that carried over. There was where we saved some money in the courts by the changes we made. I don't know if everyone knows, but Jeremy Wilson had resigned his position, so we've hired a new position. So there's been some transitions, and there was some savings in that on the front end. So I do believe the net impact overall would be about $5,000 in this year's budget. Debbie can answer any questions of that. And I defer to Scott to the operations of the court.
Like David mentioned, it's been about 10 years since the judges received, at minimum 10 years since the judges received any cost of living or any increases to their docket. Obviously, in the past 10 years, the city has grown tremendously. With the tremendous growth comes a lot more tickets that are written, a lot more cases in municipal court. So the judges have seen a significant increase in their docket, which obviously means significantly more time they spend in court. I can attest to that. Just in the short time I've been here, we're still seeing a dramatic increase in tickets with the growth of the city. One comes with another. It's not because of any one thing. It's just a growth. In addition to that, ever since the Supreme Court changed the way municipal courts are ran and operated here in Missouri, the presiding judge has had to take a more active role in the administration of the courts. It's something that's mandated by the Missouri Supreme Court that the presiding judge is the person who is the one in charge, who oversees the personnel, who makes sure the judicial functions are performed properly. So that has also meant a significant increase in the presiding judge's responsibilities also in the municipal court. You know, serving as the municipal prosecutor too, I'm not advocating for or against anything, but being the person who's there all the time when the judge is there, I think it's important that you guys understand what the presiding judge is doing, the amount of time he's spending there, and also the new rules that are in place that require him to take a more active supervisory role than has ever been done in the past. On every other Wednesday, we're there pretty much every day with dockets, and then on the other Wednesdays, we're there from 1 o'clock until it ends 3, 4 sometimes. So, or even later if we have trials. So, again, not advocating either way, but I want you guys to be well aware of the responsibility changes and the time spent in municipal court by the judges.
Ms. Parks, do you expect that this can be absorbed into the budget without an amendment?
Yes, as our city administrator mentioned a few minutes ago, we had some changes that happened to the budget line, and I'll just let you know that the line that this will be funded from was budgeted at $67,685, but in actuality, with all the changes in the staffing at the court, and also at the time of budget preparation, being my first year, I had applied the 3%, the 1.5 COLA, and the merit to him on accident, thinking that he was a regular employee, not realizing he was a contract employee. So therefore, that part was already built in, and so there's an amount of $6,411 that can be absorbed this year without any amendment to the budget. Overall, the change for this year would be a total of $6,859, but of course, the amount that was already budgeted that we could absorb is $6,400, so it's about $300 difference for this year. Of course, next year it would end up being a net increase of about $4,000 for the whole year that we're looking at above our current funded level.
Okay.
So.
Any questions, comments, or concerns from council for Mr. Cameron, Mr. Iceland, or Ms. Parks? Seeing none, I'm going to ask for a motion and a second to authorize the city administrator to take that necessary action to implement the appointment and amend the contract.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
1.
Motion carries 7-0 with 1 abstention. Okay. Moving on, resolution number 18-R-19, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing the disposal of broken and obsolete surplus items for disposal at the citywide cleanup. Need a motion and a second?
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Ms. Parks.
Yes, when we looked at and redid our purchasing policy, one of the areas that we developed a new admin policy for was broken and obsolete surplus items. And so we wrote into the provision with the expectation, as long as the city continued to do the citywide cleanup, we would allow for employees at that time to also clean up their workspaces and the citywide properties at that time, and bring it to council so you could see the full list of items that were broken and obsolete, and approve it at one time, and then be able to just put it out with the rest of the citywide cleanup items. So that is what we have done. We have an attachment number 1, and a lot of these items are just very, very old. They've outlived their usefulness. As you have looked around our properties, we do not have any storage space. So while we could keep some of these older items, what it ends up doing is cluttering workspaces and actually making things less productive. A lot of the items are actually just broken, and they're just sitting around waiting for a process to easily dispose of. So at this time, we're just asking that in the whole vein of cleaning up the city, that we also take responsibility of our own city properties and do the same.
Any questions, comments, or concerns from council? Mr. Jones.
The fire department still has a typewriter?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Just in case power goes out.
Just in case. You never know. That old Underwood could come in handy.
Yeah. It's not electric.
The cord's not there. It's old. It's older than us.
It's about the power.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, or concerns from council?
I have a question. I noticed there are a couple of laptops listed from the wastewater department, some other computer items. Is there any sensitive material, anything that we need to be worried about, any disposal of that information?
No, and actually, the computer items are gonna be disposed of through, I don't have the list of, there's a special e-waste disposal through the citywide cleanup, and, before we turn them over, we will contact our third-party IT just to make sure there's nothing sensitive.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries 8-0. On to the financial report. Ms. Parks.
Yes, I would like to just say that our sales tax for the month was down slightly. It was only down 1.53 compared to April of 2017. And while this might not seem like good news, this means that the receipts coming in from the Department of Revenue are stabilizing. Because as you've noticed, if you've been tracking our sales tax reports, it goes backwards, and it goes 35% one month and then down 25%. It's been kind of up and down. So this shows that it's kind of stabilizing. We are still up 5.63% for the overall year to date over 2017 receipts. I would like to point out, though, that we had budgeted in the 2018 budget growth of approximately 3%, though. So we're over about 2% over what we had budgeted growth-wise. So it's still a very good report. On the cash report for our new council members, I'd just like to show you on this report, I have the actual spreadsheets, and then there's a cash report. And you can sort of think of the cash report as your checkbook register. So it's a little bit different. It doesn't include all your capitalized assets, anything of that nature. It's just the true cash that's actually in our fund balances at this moment, and it fluctuates per month to month. So at this time, we have a very healthy unrestricted operating balance of $2,188,051, and this, of course, will go down throughout the year as we spend our funds down. I would like to show the council that on the water and the wastewater funds, we had transferred those designated capital replacement funds that you guys approved through the budget amendment, and so now it's all up in the operating cash, unrestricted cash. So if you want to know why the unrestricted cash went up in the water wastewater fund, is that transfer that occurred. Overall, our capital improvements fund has a cash balance of $230,261, and we have several projects that are underway at this very moment, including the weather sirens that will hopefully be in place in the next couple of weeks. Overall, our March budget to actuals should be 25% for the end of the first quarter. So our general fund revenue was $2,479,977, which is actually 33% of budgeted funds. But for our newer members of council, most of our real estate property and taxes come in at the beginning of the year, so that will stabilize and become more on target as the year goes through. The general fund expenses are $1,932,136, so we're right on target. Our water fund revenue is $397,000, which is 21% revenue, but we've only spent 2% on the expense side. Wastewater, the fund revenue was $784,995, which is 22.83%. And the wastewater fund expenditures were $801,5364, so we're at 21%, so we're just about even expenses to revenue on the wastewater side. Our street fund revenue is $553,565, which is 16% of revenue. Street fund expenditures are still down below that, which is $459,839. Storm water revenue, for those of you who remember, with the new renewal of our capital sales tax, that money is now, the revenue stream is now going into the capital improvement sales tax fund. So no more revenue is coming in except for the interest from our bank account. So that's why it's only 0.12% revenue. Fire sales tax revenue is right on target at 25%. It had $80,049.61. And the fire sales tax expense, they have not had a lot of expenditures in that fund yet, of $3,326, so it's only 0.52%. And then last but not least, the park fund, they're a little bit over target on their revenue of 28.91%, which is $918,962, and their expenditures are at $582,281 and 47 cents, which is only 18.32. Overall, none of the departments are over budget for this time of year. Our revenue seems to be tracking really well, and so as far as the finances go, everything seems to be on target this point of the year.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns from council? It's a lot more comforting to not see the dramatic swings from Greene County in our receipts, so it just makes you feel better to know when you see a 33% decrease, knowing that, not knowing if you're going to have a 34% increase to cover it next month. So I do appreciate all the work that's been done there to make sure that we're seeing accurate numbers. So thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve the financial report.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 8-0. Thank you, Ms. Parks. On to reports from staff. Mr. David Cameron. Almost called you Mr. City Administrator. Same thing, right?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Same thing. I'm going to be fairly brief. I want to bring up to date, for those that are new to the council, welcome. One thing I'd like to provide to the council members is a report. It's called the Administrator's Update, I guess, every 2 weeks. It kind of outlines what's going on in the community. But for the council tonight, I'd like to highlight a couple areas. At the next council meeting, there's going to be like 4 or 5 agreements that we're working with, which kind of spells out how things are going with the city, where we're partnering with folks and businesses to try to make it happen, and things that are occurring. So I'm looking forward, and you'll see we're already starting with the Pinnagar and the Flat Creek project. That started this week. The trails at Valley Park, which I want to thank this council for the meeting, and I apologize I didn't do this sooner, but I want to thank you for the last meeting where we were voting upon that. Was it the last meeting? Was it already been 2 meetings ago? 2 meetings ago. I cannot tell you what the buzz that has done for the community, and just what that's getting out in the development community of what's happening in Republic. So I thank you for your leadership on that issue. I know it was difficult. It's a difficult challenge, and I look forward to continuing to work on the communication that we're utilizing to get that message out, but also to work with the neighbors and to get the why and the benefits of that. But also there's going to be challenges where there's a right to have concerns, and we need to address those concerns on the front end and have more communication about that as we go along. So we learned a little bit more about it, but I thank you for your leadership in that particular project. What I want to draw your attention to tonight, which is I consider to be a game changer for the city, is a process improvement that Garrett, under his leadership, has led with Andrew and Karen and the plan review team. And it's this document right here, and it references, it's probably 5 pages back. I'd ask you to take time to look at this plan review team goals and expectations, because this is a game changer for how business is being done in the city, because it outlines the glasses, I guess, we're going to wear as we're evaluating a development, but it's very much more user-friendly, it's developer-friendly, but it's kind of making us part of the process even more, where we're taking the ownership of the project and to see it happen. And I love one is how to take a no project and make it into a yes, how to remove the barriers or the obstacles that we may be creating. It may be our ordinances that may be creating it. So, like, for example, the Planned Development District ordinance that we recently created, or the PDD, that really kind of generated out of a conversation with the developer who took the 14 pages that the city had and was ready to debate that in the first meeting. And so basically when we said, well, why don't you become part of the solution and help us draft the new language that would be a win-win for all of us. And I think, and that's really how we arrived at that document. But I think that this is a game changer for us, because not only having the one-stop shop, but having the mindset by how we're dealing with development is just as critical. You could all be in one spot, but if it's like, I don't want to use a particular agency that you have to go to get your license, but you got to be where it's, I used it anyway. So the point is, you want to make it so easy where you're not coming back multiple times to get your development done. And so you're not crossing the street and, oh, you forgot this. And there's another part of here, it talks about you're not going to get a design letter from the city that kind of throws hey, here's a letter at you with 4 pages of things that we don't like. It's pick up the phone, talk to them. It's making it a more personal approach, and they have an idea what to expect. Because I see this on a lot of occasions, and not necessarily here, we're transitioning away from it, is it's not my job, it's not my problem. You should have figured that out on the front end. Or, hey, we want to add an extra fire hydrant that's really not required by code. If that's the case, then the city's going to partner on that fire hydrant. we're gonna say, hey, if we want it, but it's not required, and we need it for our safety and the support, then the city's gonna put that hydrant in. We're not gonna just sit there and say, we're gonna mandate these rules. So it's partnering with the development to get it done. But I love the vision and the focus of this team and where it's going, is being creative. They got in a room on their own and hammered out what the goals and the rules and the expectations. So I'd encourage you to take a look at how we're gonna be dealing with the development as we move forward, because you'll see it's very much reaching across outside the city's typical role into more of being a partner with the developer. It's gonna take a while, because there's just still a lack of trust, a little bit of saying, I think I wanna still have my own. We're working on one agreement now that it just feels like you go back and forth, like, trust us, we're not trying to take something from you. So it's just gonna take a while as we continue to partner through that, but there's a lot of folks that are very interested in doing development in the city, and we gotta find a way to streamline that, but when they come in, that they feel welcome, that it's a service line, it's a business, and we're trying to work with them to get it done. And I think this is a game changer for our community. I think that this sets the tone to a whole nother level, other than the one-stop shop. This sets it aligns with the values, and I appreciate it. If you look through it, it'll talk about the regional, ethical, professional. We're just taking the acronym of Republic with our values and basically applying that to the development process. And I think that when people come in and they see that you know where you're going and how you're gonna get there, and it's streamlined, and you can pay for your permit, you can get your license, all in one day, you have a concept of what you're gonna be coming up against or dealing with, and we also try to help you navigate around that, or through it, not around it. Reword that. But we wanna know what our obstacles are. We wanna know if it's creating it. Some things we cannot get around. Sometimes saying no is the only answer. Sometimes we can't say, hey, we can make that work. We can't make a gravel parking lot work. You're gonna have to pave it. I think it's our job to explain that and help people understand that we're not out to try to take more from them. We're trying to ease entry into our business and into the business of building and doing different things. And I commend staff for doing this. I loved it when I saw it. I'm excited about seeing it, because I do believe this is continuing to set us apart, and the word is getting out more and more, and that paradigm is shifting of what that message was of how difficult it is to do business in Republic. And we still got a ways to go. We're still working on it, but I appreciate the leadership and all the staff getting together in that room and hammering that out. But take time to take a look at it if you have any comments or questions. The last part, I'm convinced now, we had a meeting today on the project status report, which is in the back of the report, that talks about all the projects that are going on. Somewhere I would like to just have a meeting where we just bring everybody up to speed on everything that is in queue. There is just a lot that's going on, and we're gonna have to narrow it down. Because if I'm sitting there talking to Debbie about one project, and then I start thinking about a lift station that would free up another 200 or 300 acres potentially for more development, or I don't even know how many that is. But did I just over it? Okay. But one lift station could generate another couple hundred acres worth of development. And so I'm sitting there talking to Debbie about one thing, and I want her to get the software upgrade done. That's a $250,000 or plus software. We want to make sure that's implemented before we take off and go to the next massive project. But there's a lot of things that could be going on right now that we just want to bring everybody up to speed of where we're at on all the projects, because there's no way in this report that I'm going to cover every one of them, and I'd like to just get everyone's attention. And the mayor and I were talking about an idea maybe in the future about maybe instead of having the work session, maybe have a lighter agenda and add some of that discussion to the agenda that night. That would maybe help slow down the coming home from work early things to maybe get this stuff done and communicate a little bit better. So that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
All right. On to Mayor's report. I'm sure Garrett loves hearing the city administrator say people finding a way to work around the rules. I saw your face when he said that. It was kind of like a half of a smile, but not really.
That's not what I meant.
I know. So I want to congratulate Eric Franklin, Gary Wilson, Charlie Brashears, and Matthew Russell, either on your election or appointment to council. For those of you that are new to council, you're here at a really good time. It's taken off. Things are really moving quickly, and I know we've talked about the reducing restrictions on businesses and development, and this plan that they're putting together is so needed, because if you just look at the things that are happening right now, with a Rankin development warehouse of 100,000 square feet, Jimmy's Egg, which is going to have a retail space for future infill, along with the restaurant, Valley Trails Phase 1, 26 family lots, family homes, Monte Cristo, 32 more homes. Merchant Park being remodeled for Purple Burrito and Classic Rock Coffee. Wildwood Plaza, the new shopping center that will be attached to Flat Creek. Infidium Pharmacy, which is the remodel. It used to be the old handy rack out on Highway 60. It's been completely remodeled. Watson Metal Masters building an addition for stainless steel tank manufacturing. Taco Bell's remodeling, a New Life Church remodel. So there are just a lot of things going on. And to top that off, as we continue to grow, it becomes very apparent just how quickly we are growing when we are currently about 50 building permits short of what we did the entire year of last year. And that's at the end of March. So that's a really good sign for growth and development. And 32 of those lots were just talked about in a first read for Monte Cristo. So we're moving quickly. So it's been a lot of hard work. And along with that, not only has the staff worked really hard, but the city, even with a short decrease this month, we're still 5.63% up on sales tax receipts. So people are still coming to Republic to shop and do their business, and we want to just increase that. So that is all I have to say. And now I'll move on to reports from council, and why not start right over here, Mr. Franklin?
All right. Well, I want to say I really appreciate all the support I've had from the community. This has really been an excellent experience for me, and I'm super excited about the opportunity I've been given. So thank you very much. Really appreciate this report from Mr. Cameron. It really helps me kind of get up to speed with what's going on. Very excited about getting busy and seeing what I can do to help the Republic. But I'm very thankful for Greg Smith and everything Greg did for the council. It's been very enjoyable for me to watch Greg from the other side for a little over a year now. I think I've been watching Greg about every night, but it's been excellent, and super excited about the opportunities, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ann?
Well, congratulations, Eric.
Thank you.
And everybody else. I look forward to serving with you. I love this plan, and I really love the go the extra mile and have a servant's attitude. That is awesome. Debbie, I always appreciate your reports and little extra staff. So thank you guys.
All right, thank you, Mr. Russell.
You guys don't mess around. You know, I applied Thursday of last week, interviewed Monday, and here I am Tuesday. That's awesome, and I like it. I like the style. So I'm pleased to be a part of this. I'm pleased to be able to be here and help out. So if I'm doing something wrong, kick me, throw something at me. I react pretty well to that. I've been married for 20 years, so I take everything from looks to elbows. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to helping out.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Dykeman.
Well, first I'd like to welcome the two members to the council, and I look forward to working with you. And of course, again, with all the staff and what they do is just what makes Republic great.
Yeah. All right. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, right. I'd also like to welcome Eric and Matt to the council. We're glad to have you. It was really interesting in the position that you now have at the interest that we had. And I would hope that, you know, the day where we have a position open for, you know, a council position, there's only, you know, one person that may be on the ballot, like I was this time. That there would be several, that there would be some choices. The competition is good. It makes the cream more or less rise to the top, and choices are good. And a lot is going on. Republic has changed so much. We've all seen it. Gary's been here a long time. I haven't been here quite that long. But it has really, it has really changed, and changed for the better. So again, welcome, guys. Look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Again, congratulations to our two members of council, and congratulations to our two more senior members of council as well. No, just a lot of positive things going on. Had a lot of positive feedback just this week about the city-wide cleanup going on Saturday. It's a great thing that people are anticipating now. It's become a thing that Republic does, and so that's really neat. I have one question for you, Mr. Cameron. Just, do you have an update on the siren issue and kind of what's transpiring there?
I know that the 2 sirens will be installed next week, but the work order's been put in for the other one, so that's about the only update we have. But I do appreciate staff getting that out. That was one of the messages we needed to get out. Go figure we'd have a big storm the very next day. But I do know next week, the week of like the 25th and 26th, the 2 new ones will be in. But as for You have enough,
Repairs, we'll probably be here 3 days. It'll take them a full day to make repairs.
they're gonna repair at the same time?
That's the plan as of now.
Okay, so hopefully all of them will be, new ones will be installed and repaired next week.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Well, want to get my voice going. Want to congratulate the new members. Hope they enjoy the ride, and I'm looking forward to the new year.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Sutton.
I echo what everyone else says. Congratulate you two, and then also you two as well, and then also Mr. Mayor. So congratulations on another term here. You know, Mr. Cameron went through a lot of stuff there as far as development, everything. It's fast paced. I would say that we went from not necessarily zero whenever I get down here, but you know, we were at 5 to 10 miles an hour, and we've ramped that up to a nice, cool 60 or 70, and it's fun. Like when things get going, I remember the night that I actually met Mr. Cameron, who was applying for the city administrator job. I asked him, you know, what does it feel like when that city gets going? And it's exciting, and I get goosebumps when I talk about it because that's what we need in this town. And you know, even the Valley Trails thing that we had here recently, Mr. Hancock, just little things like that. The buzz is stirring, and that momentum is just going to be awesome. Economy's good, unemployment's down. There's a lot of things that is in our favor to take off even at a faster pace. So.
All right, well, we do not have an executive session, so at this time, I would ask for a motion and a second to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion carries 8-0. We're adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
That's the one that you